What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let me get this in here because I'm gonna need to do some measuring for that in just a minute, because this week's video we're gonna make some big progress on this trailer. As you can see, if you've been following along, you know that there's something missing already in this clip. I've already stripped all of the wood out of this thing, everything but the floor. I'm gonna be keeping the floor, but I pulled all the wood down, all the trim down. I got it bare metal on the inside because we're gonna be cutting windows in hopefully this weekend for this video. Everything should be out for delivery and we can make some progress this week. I've got the metal here for us to build and fab up the new rear kitchen. The brackets, the Billie bar brackets, I've got those installed, the weather seal down, and I've already took my measurements, contacted Billie bars and got the bars. They're working on getting those cut and sent out to me, so we'll have a roof rack pretty soon. So this week's video, we're gonna make some progress. If you're new and you haven't seen any of that, if this is the first video you've clicked, I've got a part 1 and a part 2 already on my YouTube channel. Go check them out. The first video is me bringing this trailer home. You get to see what it looked like when I brought it home, why I chose this trailer and all that stuff. The second video, we fitted in here. I got the wheels and the axle off of this thing so we could set it on the ground. And I went over some details of what we're gonna be doing with the rear kitchen. So definitely check out those videos. We're gonna make some progress this week. So first of all, I'm gonna walk you guys around it, show you what I've done off camera, all the demoing. Some of the wood is kind of behind you here on the camera. I'm gonna be able to reuse some of it, some of the trim and stuff. We're just gonna have to get rid of it because it was really cheap wood that they used in here anyway. They make them as cheap and fast as possible. But yeah, let me walk you guys around it. I'm gonna show you where we're at, kind of go over really quick what we're doing. I'll show you the metal that I went with and why I chose this metal. That way, if you're building this or you have plans to do something like this, you might be able to follow along. And if you get any questions, hit me up in the comments. I'll try to answer them throughout these video series or this build series as I'm building this thing, because a lot of you guys are watching this and you're either building one of these or you're planning to build something like it. So if you've got questions, just hit me up and I'll try to help you the best I can. But let me show you where I'm at really quick and then we're gonna get to work. First, let me take a shot of coffee. I just got home from work and I'm ready to put some hours in on this thing. So here is the inside, and this is what it looks like with no wood. They used 1 inch wide by 1.5 inch thick steel to build this, and it's reinforced pretty good. I will say that. The welds are not great. They're just spot welds. They didn't fully weld anything in here. So I am going to go through here and weld what I need to weld and brace where I need to brace, because we are going to be putting a lot of weight on top of this thing. You know, once we get all the stuff up there, I want to make sure that I'm braced up pretty good. Adding the rear wall back here that we're fixing to add today is going to actually help this thing tremendously, because I'm not going to build it out of wood. It's not going to be like a false wall. It's going to be a rear structural real wall. And you can kind of see, I guess I'll go ahead and go over the real wall real quick with you guys. So this is where the fridge is going to basically live, and the countertop is going to be above it. I don't want to, I could use this pole here and build my wall completely off of it. But if I did that, you could see I'd be wasting so much space. I really only need to go to like right in here. So what I'm gonna do is, I got some new steel today. We're gonna cut it up and I'm gonna weld in my new piece that's gonna go up both sides, and it's gonna create a wall back here that I'll be able to put metal studs in and actually give some structure to this build. And I think it'll add a lot of rigidity back here. It'll keep the, you know, once we get all that weight up there, it'll help with the side to side once everything's welded in. And that'll give me the platform to build this rear kitchen, which is going to be great. Also, I'm going to have to cut through a couple of these. Like this one I'll have to cut because the window is going to go here. I didn't want to put the window in. I'm kind of having to think through all this stuff. Sorry if I'm getting you guys dizzy walking around like this. I'm kind of having to think ahead, like 3 or 4 steps before I make any moves, so that I don't kind of mess myself up. Originally, I was just going to go ahead and put the window in here, but I need to build the wall in here first so that I know out here where this wall is going to be. So if I was to just go ahead and stick a big window here, whenever I put my wall in, it could have interfered with the new window. So if I do the kitchen wall first, get it put in place, then I can take a measurement from the end of the kitchen wall to this door, and I can center up the window right here. I've got a window that should be here today. Hopefully we'll get to install it in today's video. It's going to go in the door, so we're going to have a window here and a window here. But before I can do any windows, we got to tackle that wall first. And I got the steel I'll show you in just a minute. First, let me hop up here and show you. Well, I'll show you the floor really quick. There's a few holes that I'm sure you guys are going to notice right here. There's actually metal on the bottom of this, on all four corners, and that is just from these tie downs that were in the floor, because this is basically a motorcycle trailer, a lawnmower trailer, and I'm going to keep these floors because they went with 3/4 inch. It's good wood, and I'm going to lay a floor down on top of it anyway. So all I'm going to do is, when the time comes, I'm just going to fill those holes in. It's just 4 holes. I'll cut a piece of wood to go down there. We'll glue it in, and then when we put the floor over it, you'll never know it's there. And then we're going to have the rear wall back here and everything. Let me climb up here. So this is how the roof is turning out. And I know some of you guys are going to immediately look at this and hit me up. See how that bracket is leaning in just a little bit. And that is because we are bolted into that angle iron that's on the inside. And I went over it in last week's video with you guys. See, here's my bolts coming through. Matter of fact, here's that angle iron that we tapped into. And that angle iron is the structure cap for the whole top of this thing. So whenever I bolted these in, you can really see it on that one, how it's kind of leaned in, which is fine. We'll take care of that. But whenever I drilled and bolted these in, I sealed everything up. That's that RV seal that did really good. I think it's going to be great. I got these back at a 90. I pushed them out and bent them exactly where they needed to be. You can kind of tell that I mounted them flush with the trailer. So our awning is going to mount here. It's going to look great. And then once I got this one perfectly vertical, that one perfectly vertical, I took my measurement from the inside to the inside of here, because right here is where the Billie bar's bed rack is going to drop into. So once I got that measurement, I took a measurement on 3, made sure they were right, and I sent it to Billie bars, and they're cutting the new rails. When they get here, hopefully in the next few days, they'll drop right in. We'll put our 2 bolts here on the side, and we will have a very sturdy roof rack. What's really cool about this rack is I'm going with 3 of their brackets and 3 of the racks. By doing this and locking this angle iron to that angle iron with the rack, and then putting a 10 up here and locking it down, I know I'm going to be adding a lot of weight, but I'm also going to be creating a lot of structural rigidity. If it makes sense, I'm going to be tying these 2 sides together even more than just these few rafters that they got. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rafters that go across the top, and they're just tack welded in place, nothing special. But me adding those bars across the top and locking everything down, that's really gonna firm up the back of this, and it's gonna shore everything up. I think it's gonna help more than it would hurt by adding that rack up there. So, but time will tell. We'll see once everything gets here. Now let me show you guys the metal that I went with and kind of why I went with it. So first of all, you can see the metal is 1.5 inches by 1 inch. And that is what I wanted to go with to build the wall, to build the kitchen area back here for the table. But it was a lot cheaper for me to choose a different metal. Let me show you. So this metal is 1 by 1, and I'll show you really quick. Pull one over. So this is inch by inch, and it's 14 gauge square tubing. And it was surprisingly cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I got 80 linear feet of this for $105. So it's about a little over $2 a foot, which is not really bad. And I bought enough of it to build out the rear kitchen, build out the new wall. And I'm thinking that I'm going to be able to use this to fab up some other stuff around the trailer when we're done, because I am thinking about fabbing up a really cool little ladder that's built onto the side to get up and down from the top. And if I've got enough of this left, or I can always go pick more up. Now, the reason I didn't go with the 1.5 inches by inch is because it actually doubled in price, and it was like a special order thing. Going with what they already had, the 1 by 1, will be fine. It's the same dimensions as what we need as far as the thickness goes. It's just not going to be as wide, which doesn't really matter. The wall we're building is not really a structural wall anyway. It's just building a wall. It's going to add some structure to it, but it's basically just building a wall. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start taking measurements, and I'm gonna start with a wall because I kind of have to go there first before we can do windows and stuff like that, like I mentioned. And I'm just gonna take a measurement of exactly where I want this wall to go, weld everything up, build the wall, and once this wall is in place, we can work on the kitchen side. I can bring down that piece of sheet metal that I've got, or the stainless steel table that I told you guys about last week. I'm gonna cut it up specifically for the back of this, so once we get the bench laid out, I'll be able to drop that in, and we can kind of build it from there. I don't know what I'm gonna film doing all of this. I'm just gonna, over the next 3 days, I'm gonna work on this thing, and I'll update you guys on the way, but this isn't gonna be like a measurement detailed video. I'm just going to start building this thing and keep you guys updated. I hope you guys are enjoying this build so far. I think it's going to turn out really cool. And if I don't cover something, like I mentioned earlier, feel free to ask me in the comments. If you're into doing something like this and you want to know exactly how I did what, just ask me down below and I'll get with you guys and I'll help you out in any way that I can. But let me go start cutting some metal. I got to change clothes and do some welding down here today and get this first wall started, and I'll update you guys here in just a second. Good morning, guys. Well, we got some rain last night. Come out here to see what it looked like. Check out this fog. It was really thick a while ago. You can't really see the road. The road's way over here, but it just disappears into the fog. That is pretty cool. It's early, and I got a pretty good bit done. I'm going to show it to you this morning, and then I'm just going to get back to work. I did bring the table down here. I guess I can show it to you while we're out here. So this is a table that I'm going with. It's just an old stainless steel bench top. It's pretty thick. I think it's like maybe a 14 gauge. And what's really neat about it is, let me show you really quick. This is where I've been cutting everything. Well, I slid it inside. I've been cutting all this steel outside. But this is the steel that we're using to build the frame on everything. And the lip of this thing is 1 inch. How cool is that? So when we drop this in and we cut our hole for our sink and get it all polished up, it's gonna look really nice. It's not gonna have any metal showing, sticking out, you know. There's not gonna be a chunk of metal showing right here. It's gonna completely hide up under the edge of that, which I thought was pretty cool. After seeing this weather this morning, I kind of wish I was out on the lake. I'm not gonna lie, but I got a lot of stuff to get done here. I want to make some good progress this week. Let me show you where we're at. I've welded some stuff up this morning, or last night right before bed, and I was also kind of worried last night. I don't ever weld down here, and I kept waking up and checking my cameras downstairs just to check to make sure nothing was gonna catch on fire and I wasn't gonna burn my house down while I was in bed. So I got fire extinguishers and I'm taking safety precautions, and I've got some weld tarps and stuff like that I'm going to use. But I've got a little bit welded up. It's not going to look like I've got a lot done, but a lot of measuring went involved, and we're going to make some bigger progress today. Let me show you. And I've also managed to make a huge mess in my basement down here. Look at this. That's wood that we're probably not going to keep. That's all the trim wood before I ripped everything out. And then I've got all the stuff that's got to go into the tent. I really don't have anywhere to keep it, so I just kind of put it on carts. I did build me a new cart last week. I kind of put everything on carts and rolled it out of the way. I've got the welder pushed over here. This is the wood that we may be able to reuse. I think it's like maybe 1/4 inch. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best wood, but it's some nice pieces, and if we need wood for the project, we'll use it. That's the stuff that was on the walls. And here's how far I got. And like I said, it's probably not going to look like much on camera. It's not even fully welded yet. I've got this bar welded and this bar welded. And then I've got the whole new wall welded into place. Now, what took so long doing this was that nothing is square. There is not a single plumb or square pole or wall in this entire trailer. And this wasn't a cheap trailer. This is a $3,500 brand new 2025 trailer, and they look really good. I mean, it's hard to complain because they are nice, but if you're going to build one of these out, just be prepared to know that nothing is going to be square. So I'm having to kind of, I can't build a square plumb structure inside of it because it'll look offset. So I'm having to kind of fudge a little here, fudge a little there to make everything fit and look nice in here when we're done. But this is going to be the height of our bench. Obviously, it's going to be way taller off the ground. I've got some more bars cut that's going to go across the top. But what I'm going to have to do is the fridge is going to go here. And when I'm welding these in, like this one is not welded in yet today, and this one isn't either. That's what I'm welding up next. But my sink is going to go over here, and my original plan was I have a little sink over here. It's something that I've had, but it doesn't have the faucet attached to it. It's just one of those sinks where you would use something like this Dometic water pump that you just touch, and it works and pumps the water, which is really cool. And I've already got it, so I'm debating on using that setup in here, but I also don't want to put something in here just because I already have it, because if this is going to turn out to be super nice, and I mean, you can tell how big this bench is actually going to be. I could get away with going with a pretty good size sink if I wanted to. So I'm kind of going back and forth. I can't weld in these poles. I guess I'm saying all that to let you guys know that this morning my main goal is going to be making sure that I weld in these braces that go across in a way that if I do decide to go to a bigger sink over here, I have that option. Like, I don't want to put a pole right in the middle and then have a little sink in the corner, and then when I want to upgrade later, I have to cut out all the structure just to put it in. So anyway, that's coming along. We're going to put our poles up here. I have decided, oh yeah, and I've also got, where's it at? I've got the door window in, and they packed this thing really well. We're going to try to, I'll film the install with you guys on putting this in today sometime. Once we get all the metal work done back here in the back, I'll switch gears and we'll go to the window. But that's going to go right here. I did decide I am going to remove this because we don't really need it, and it kind of looks crappy on here. It's going to leave me some holes to get rid of, but I'll just deal with that. I think in here I've made up my mind that I'm going to, let me move this so you guys can see a little bit. So this is going to be my wall, and as you can see, now we know where this wall ends right here. This is my new pole, and as you can see, it's the same thickness of this. Even though it's not as wide, the walls are still going to remain flush. I'm not going to have any weird humps or anything in the walls. But now you can see that I can put a window between here and here, and I really don't want to cut both of these, so I'm probably just going to stick to a window where I only have to cut this one out to go here. But what that allows me to do now is start planning how I want to put the bed in here. And I do think that I may continue doing the style that I'm doing with using metal and not wood for the most part. I mean, there is going to get to a point in this project where I am putting wood in here. But if I could go ahead and frame out the bed, I'm thinking when you walk in the door here, the bed headboard down here, a bed that goes all the way down this side here, entertainment center right here. So if I am camping in here by myself, I can just plop in the bed. Now I do want to, my original plan was to put this bed here and have a way to make it double the size and pull it open. But if I do that, I got to do it in a way where this bed is going to serve two purposes. It's going to serve as a bed, one, but it's also going to be where I store everything for this camper. And what I mean is batteries. I'm wanting to run a couple of 200 amp hour batteries in here with the solar connection and all the wiring. That up under this bed is going to be the central hub for everything. The water tank's probably going to go up under the bed. The batteries are going to go up under the bed. The fuse boxes, if I can squeeze the diesel heater up under the bed, everything is going to fit right here. So I have to have access to that. And the way I build it, you know, kind of controls how much I can fit up under that bed. So hopefully I didn't just ramble on a whole lot about stuff that didn't make any sense. I'm half asleep this morning. It's early. I'm going to get some coffee in me, and then we're just going to get to work. I'm going to start back here, finish up the welds, get all that done, and then I'll probably catch back up with you guys here in a few when we make it to the window install for the door. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I got the one off of Amazon that you can shut, the blinds are kind of built into it, so it'll be like a little privacy window, which will be pretty neat, and it'll just be a nice little touch on this trailer. I'm hoping when we're done, this trailer doesn't look like something I built in my basement. It looks like something that you could go buy. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it turns out when I'm done. Good morning. I'm lying. It's not morning. I've got a confession to make. It is Sunday, middle of the day, and I got on a roll last night and got a lot done without you guys. As a matter of fact, this is how much metal I have left out of that 80 feet of steel that I bought. this is it. I was able to get a lot done, and I got the window put in without you guys too, but I'll show you why I went ahead and did it off camera. The other big window hadn't got here yet, but I made a lot of progress. I got to get more steel. I can't believe that 80 foot, I thought that I was going to have way too much actually, and I need more. I ended up framing everything up. Those acorns fall and hit the roof of this carport, and it will scare the crap out of you. But let me go in here and show you where we're at. I've got it stripped out right now. It's nothing but the bare frame, and I'll show you. See what I mean? That'll get you every time. And I've got the frame, and then I'm going to put everything in it. I've got the top cut, as you can see. I guess I'll show you real quick. That big old metal top that I showed you guys. See where I done hacked it out? I got the piece that we needed. So now we've got a stainless steel bench top in there for the kitchen. I still got to cut it out when we get the sink and all in. But anyway, let me show you where we're at. And I did take the time this morning and clean my mess up a little bit. I still got a mess on the benches, but I did try to vacuum up. Here's our stainless steel top that I got cut to fit. Now I've still got to do a little bit of tweaking on it, but it will drop in. And I've got it out first because I want to show you guys the frame. But first, let me show you the window and kind of go over why I didn't film me installing this. First of all, it's an Amazon window. If you end up liking it, I like the window. It's pretty heavy duty. The glass is nice. I'll link it in the video description. But it does not come with a template or a stencil so that you know how to cut the hole to get this thing to fit. It comes with 0 installation instructions, like none. There's no paperwork with this window. All you get is the window. Now, I will say that it shipped fast and it was packaged really well, and it's a good window. But, excuse me, you have to figure out how to cut the hole. And what I mean is you can't just trace this circle on your door and then cut the hole, because the hole will be too big. So the actual lip is about 3/8 of an inch off of this outside line in all the way around. So what I had to do was hold the window up in place, tape it where I wanted it. Then I ran tape all the way around the edge of the window on the door. And then I took the window off, and I had to measure off of my tape line over 3/8 of an inch and tape a new line exactly 3/8 of an inch off of my tape all the way around. And then once I got that, I cut it out with a jigsaw. And another reason I didn't film me installing it, because remember earlier when I told you guys there is nothing on this trailer that is square or plumb. The walls, if you look at the walls from the back of the trailer, they actually go up like this. And I found that out when I was building that inner wall in there behind the kitchen. But if you look at the door, you can also tell what I had to do. And it's still, to me, it doesn't look right. But once we get everything put on here, nobody will ever notice. But if you look right here, the door's crooked. It opens and shuts just fine, but the door is crooked. And what I mean is if you look right here at the distance between this drip rail and this edge right here of this trim, that is a lot smaller than this side. Matter of fact, I got a tape measure on my pocket. Let's see. We got 3 1/8 right there. 3 1/8 to the drip rail. Over here, we got almost 3 1/2. 3 3/8 right there. So it's a bigger gap right here. I don't know if the trim is just crooked or if they build it with a little bit of an arch or what, but you can clearly tell that the gaps aren't right. So I went with one measurement the best that I could. I measured the same distance off of the edge of the door here, and then I just kind of squared everything up with that edge of the door. So if I wouldn't have told you or pointed it out, a lot of people wouldn't really notice. But if you stand here and stare at it, you can definitely notice. Look at the red across the bottom. See how small the gap is over here? And then you get over here and you see how big that gap is right there. It's crazy that they build them so at a square like this, but you know, they're made in a factory where they just, everything's pre-cut and people are just throwing it together to get it out the door. But I will show you the window really quick, and then I'm going to show you the inside. The inside looks really cool. I'm really happy with the way it's turning out. But the window is nice. It's a nice tempered glass. It is tinted. As you can also see, I took off the big bar. I've got a hole to plug. I was able to use my window hole to get rid of this top hole, but I got to get rid of that hole. And then I got a couple here where that big bar was. I already got these plugged, but I'm probably going to take those plugs out and just try to see what I can do with sealing it before we wrap it. But if you open it up, you can see it doesn't look too bad in here. Now the metal is thinner on this side, and when I cut it, it did make it kind of look a little bit wavy, and you can see on the camera what I mean by the reflections. It did make it a little bit wavy, but I'll live with it. Here's the pull down blind, little privacy shade, which I thought was pretty cool. And you can take it out if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can take the blind out. It's removable. Now, let me show you what this looks like in here. Matter of fact, let's go from the back. I got a light in there so we can see. And then we'll set everything in place, and you can kind of get a feel for what I'm doing. So here's the new jungle gym that I'm putting together. Bunch of square tubing all welded together, and don't look at anything too closely. I mean, I got most of it completely welded. There's a few spots that I got to go back and weld that I missed, but I still got more metal to pick up for braces and stuff like that. But I will say this, me doing it and building it this way is going to be way lighter than wood, and it's more compact. Like if I was building this out of 2x4s, first of all, the 2x4s are going to be super heavy and they would rot one day. And then I would have to screw those 2x4s into the metal wall. Attaching them to the metal is just so much more complicated. If you're going to do it, go this route. If you can't weld, learn to weld. It's not hard. Just buy a welder and start welding. I'm no expert at all. I mean, I can show you some of my welds if you want proof, but you know what? They'll hold. I'm not trying to win no contest. I'm just welding everything up. But another good thing about me building this structure this way, making a complete skeleton, getting it how I want it, and then adding the paneling and wood and everything like that, is I am making this whole trailer solid as a rock. When I'm done reinforcing all of this stuff and welding everything into place, this is going to be 10 times more sturdy than it was when I picked it up. Because, you know, when I picked it up, it was just those walls and a few bars across the roof, and that's it. Now, this is the side where the sink's going to go. You can see that I did weld this up with a big opening here. I do think I'm going to order the bigger sink. This is where the bench top is going to go. I went ahead and left I was going to put a center bar across right here to make it a little bit sturdier, but I actually set the stainless top on here that I'm going to show you in just a minute, and I climbed up here and sat down, and it doesn't move. It doesn't flex, it doesn't move. So I'm going to leave that out because I could eventually put a drop-in stove right here above the fridge if I want to. So I'm going to leave that bar out. I think it's just sturdy enough. I did add this little kick down bar here. And if you look at this at different angles, some things don't look square. And like I said, I'm still fighting the unsquareness of everything. So my stuff is square just compared to the stuff off the trailer isn't square. This is going to be a wall here. This is going to be a wall here under the bed. And then this is going to be a big wall here, of course. Now, I mentioned earlier, I think in this video, that up under this bed is going to be the central hub for everything. And I've made it big enough to do that. And I'm also making it big enough that if I want to slide it out to create a bigger bed, that I can. And this actually worked out perfectly for the mattress that I already have to go in here. And I'm going to throw it in a minute and show it to you. But I'm leaving this wall right here. So this is going to be, you know, the back of the kitchen. And the reason I'm doing this is because I think that I can build a ladder, maybe in the future. This is just me talking out loud now, but a ladder that goes through the ceiling right here. The way I built this wall is I built it with a gap here. And as you can see, this is where my bolts come in from my Billie bars rack. So that rack is going to run here. So this will leave me a spot if I wanted to put a hatch to go into the tent that's going to be on the roof. And if that worked out, I would have a ladder welded to this wall, you know, on the outside of the actual wall. Made it, you know, I'll make it look good so it's not just like a bunch of steel welded up, but have a ladder that you can just climb up to get in and out of the tent. If I'm by myself, I'll have a bed here. I've got plenty of room for the batteries, the water, the heater, the AC. And another huge perk of me building this like this is once this is all walled in, this gives me a huge area under everything to run all of my hoses, all of my wires, anything that I need to run will be completely hidden, and I can run it from one end of the trailer to the other. I also welded this back bar across. This is where the bed's going to sit on top of. But since I tied this into all of this structure, I can put me an outdoor hatch, like an RV hatch on the outside of this trailer to access the batteries from the outside. So if I want to put a hatch here and a hatch here, I can actually get in and out under the bed from the outside and get to the water tank or the heater or the batteries or whatever. And I'm going to have room up here for storage. Not to mention, I think I'm going to be able to put some pantries right above the bed right here and have it kind of wrap around. And the TV will probably be on this wall here. All right, that was a lot of talking. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to explain everything to you guys. Now let me throw everything in. I'm going to be able to throw the bed in. I did cut a board that goes across there for the mattress that we're going to use, and I'm so glad the length ended up perfectly width-wise and lengthwise for the bed that I have, so it's going to fit great. The fridge, I'll be able to drop it in on the slide. I'm not going to bolt the slide down yet because I'm still going to be putting a floor in here. We're probably going to do some sort of laminate floor, you know, and then I'll be able to bolt the stuff that goes on the floor down. And I'll drop the countertop in, and you guys can see how it turned out. The other window didn't show up with this window for some reason. UPS sucks. If you're going to send me something, send it FedEx. The UPS started only delivering to my house 3 days a week. So even when it shows up at my local UPS, it'll just sit there until they deliver to me, which is kind of dumb. But I didn't get that other window, so that'll be in the next video. The Billie bars racks are out. They've already made them. They've already shipped them. Those will be here for the next video, so we'll be able to do that. The awnings here, the pop-out showers here. So the next video, I have all of that. So just stay tuned. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you can keep up with this build. But let me throw all this, what I can, in really quick and show you how good it looks. Man, that window looks so good in that door. I'm so glad I went with that bigger window like that. But check this out. This is going to be a huge kitchen countertop. When we put that sink in here, I'm going to either polish this up or I'm going to do that trick like I did on my workbench upstairs in the garage. You know how you do the lines with the grinder wheel? You just hit it and you do them over and over and it creates a really cool design. I may do that if some of these scratches don't want to buff out, or if I can get them to buff out, I'm just going to polish it really nice. But you can see I built it so the fridge slides right in and out. It's not bolted down, so I can't pull it all the way out. And then it's right up under there. The lip of this metal actually completely hides that bar like I showed you. This is going to be covered up, and the way I designed this, I actually cut this top a little bit wider. Let's see if I can show you. See this gap? I made that gap 1/4 inch so that I can build a door that slides up here, and then there's going to be a piece of angle down here when we put the floor in that's going to contain a door that I'm going to make out of a 1/4 inch, probably 1/4 inch plywood or melamine, and then you'll have a hole in it right here for your finger or maybe a handle or something to open it. But I'm going to have a door here so you can just slide it through this groove, and this groove is going to run all the way down. I don't think I'm going to do a door on this side. I think I'm just going to leave this open with the fridge showing, and then just have a door hiding, you know, the bottom of the sink or whatever we end up putting up under the sink. But as you can see, you can kind of tell what I meant. Once that's closed in and the bed's closed in, all of this open space right here up under the sink is going to be hidden, but I'm going to leave it open so that I can run wires, cables, hoses, whatever we need to run. I don't have to crack a hole into the wall, you know, to get to everything. The fuse panel, everything will be up under that bed. So everything will be easily routable all the way around the trailer where we need it. And I'll show you. So that pad that you're seeing in there, I've actually got two. This is what they look like rolled up. My wife has one and I have one. They're GAIA Loop. I can't pronounce that name, but that's what it is. My wife and I got them for tent camping, and they are great. They are designed, it's like a memory foam mattress, but they're designed to fit on top of a cot. And tell me that thing was not made for that spot. I mean, it fits perfectly. So this wall is going to come down here, and that's why I built it so there's still a lip right here for the wall to attach to when the wall's up. But then this will go in there and slide up, be nice and tight. This is going to be a wall here, and of course a wall here, and that thing fit perfect, and it's super comfortable. I can't hop up there and lay down yet because I ran out of metal, and I need to put me a brace bar across right here in the middle, and I don't want to get up here and start flexing or anything like that. But as you can see, we're going to have plenty of room in here. I mean, yes, it's a tiny camper, but I'm trying to use every little bit of space that I can. Now, I'm going to address something that I know that some of you guys are going to call me out on, and that is the fridge right here. And remember the first video of this trailer a couple weeks ago, when I debuted the trailer and I went over the fridge, why I chose the fridge is because the lid opens both ways. And the whole idea was for me to be able to slide the fridge out back here, use it, and then if I'm inside, slide the fridge to the other side and use it from the inside. I'm not going to do that. I'm 99% sure that I changed my mind on doing that. And the reason is I don't want to sacrifice that wall inside there, cutting a big hole in it or having doors in it to slide that fridge through. I don't want to do that because I'll be using up precious space that I've got on the inside. And what I mean is, I mentioned that I'm going to attempt to make a pass through to get to the tent right here off this wall. Well, if I have this put in here where that fridge can slide in and out, then it would mess up that whole wall for me. I wouldn't be able to do anything with this wall except for maybe put a shelf up here or something like that. So I'm just going to suck it up. The fridge is going to be fine the way it is outside. I'm not sure how often I would actually even use it on the slide on the inside. And also I would have to modify the slide, the actual fridge slide, the Iceco slide, because it's got a lock on it that locks it shut and open. And I would have to remove the locks and do a little bit of tweaking to it to get it to roll from one side to the other. And I'm just not going to do that. I think it's not worth the effort. It's a great fridge, and it's going to work great for the rear kitchen back here the way it is. And also remember, this is going to be way higher. This is sitting on the ground, so I'm not going to be reaching way down here to get stuff out of the fridge. The fridge is actually going to be a good height, so I can just pull it open, pop it up, and get stuff out of it. This bench is going to be at the perfect height, and everything is working out the way I like it. Still haven't made up my mind how I want to do this back wall yet. If you remember last week's video, I talked to you guys about doing a molly panel wall. Well, now that I've got everything built, I'm kind of picturing shelves or pantry doors up here again. So let me know in the comments of this video. I asked you in last week's video, so hopefully we can get together and figure out some cool way to put something above this rear cabinet or this rear countertop, some molly panel bags or cabinets or something. I don't know, but stay tuned for next week's video. Like I said, the window will be here, hopefully. Well, it should be here. It's in my local UPS store now, so I'll be able to get that window in the next video. The Billie bars rack, the TopOak 270 awning is here. We'll be able to get it hung and mounted in the shop next week, and then we're going to be off to running wires. It's not going to be long. This is going a little bit quicker than I thought, so it won't be long that we'll be rolling this thing outside, putting it back on its suspension, and then putting the tent on, and then we're going to start trying to figure out that passageway going through. So if you're new to my channel and you got here because of this build, if you click the first one and you're following along, be sure you hit subscribe, guys. It helps my channel tremendously. Just hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button goes a long way. Make sure that you tune in next week. If you hit the notification bell, I upload a new video every Monday at 6 p.m. right here. So come on back. If you subscribe, hopefully you get notified every week and when the video goes live. And stay tuned because we're going to keep working on this over the next few months and hopefully have it ready for some spring camping. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace.